So right before I get started here, some beginning information. The purpose of this speech is to inform and persuade people who are ignorant of the consequences of abortion bans. More specifically, this is an attempt to plant a seed, to possibly change someone's mind on supporting the ban. This speech will not be filtering any of the brutality of the ban. So out of respect to you, if you are sensitive to this topic, I would ask you to select a different speech to watch. Thank you. In Texas, it is completely legal to openly carry firearms. Pistols, rifles, shotguns, you name it. All in the name of self-defense. The right to bear arms. You wanted to defend yourself, but instead of the threat coming from another person, it's coming from inside of you. You won't die, but the fetus, the one that you didn't even consent to conceiving, will develop into a stillborn. It's deformed, and giving birth to it is going to cause immense trauma, only adding to the trauma that you already have from this entire nightmare. Because of the anti-abortion law established in your state, you will either be forced to carry this corpse to term or travel out of state. This is the reality that women face all over the country due to the overturning of Roe v. Wade. In this speech, I will be going over the importance of Roe v. Wade and why it needs to be reinstated. I will be going over the problems that are caused by the overturning and the effects that these problems have on women. In many states, it is illegal to get an abortion. A 2024 map written by the Center for Reproductive Rights called After Roe Fell, Abortion Laws by State shows each state and displays the status of the ban in each state. The map has 5 levels, being expanded access, protected, not protected, hostile, and illegal. Expanded access means that abortion is protected by the law and that there are no restrictions on when the abortion can happen. Protected means that it's still protected by the law, but there are restrictions on when it can happen. Not protected means that there are no laws instituted to protect the abortion, but it still can be legal. Illegal means exactly how it sounds, where the state has outright outlawed abortion. Hostile means that it is not only illegal to get an abortion, but there are no exceptions to the rule, even in the case of rape or incest. In states where abortion is completely illegal, women will have to travel out of state just to be able to get the health care they need. They could potentially have to travel several states to be able to get this care, only adding to an already stressful situation. For those who have trouble comprehending this issue, it's like banning appendix removals. Some states see your appendix as a living thing because the cells of this non-sentient organism are alive. Because of this, you have to drive from Louisiana to Missouri before it ruptures and kills you. This is the type of situation that women who need life-saving care are dealing with. Speaking of deaths, let's talk about death. Pro-lifers claim that they are saving lives by supporting the ban, so let's take a look at all the lives that they're saving. A 2022 PBS article written by John Yang called "Why Both Abortion and Infant Mortality Rates Have Gone Up in Post-America" talks about this. In several states, many women are being forced to carry fetal anomalies to term, which only the most lethal cases are being exempt from this ban. This quite literally means that the women are being forced to birth corpses. Imagine knowing for several months that you are carrying a dead body inside of you, and only once you've gone through the traumatic experience of giving birth will you then be free. Even worse, you could give birth to a baby knowing that it will die within minutes of being out. This ban is quite literally forcing parents to watch as their baby dies in their arms. There are many different reasons someone would want an abortion. To save the mother's life, fetal anomalies, rape, incest, etc. Let's take a look at one specifically harrowing subject, being rape. A 2024 PBS article by John Yang called Study Estimates 64,000 Pregnancies from Rape in States that enacted abortion bans post-Roe talks about this. The title is quite self-explanatory. It estimates that 64,000 women have gotten pregnant because of rape in these states. Unfortunately, the number is higher than that, as many would choose not to report such a traumatic experience. Women that undergo such a trauma have to endure even more because they are unable to get an abortion in the state in which they live. This leaves them with only two choices: give birth to a child you've never even consented to having, or travel over possibly several state lines just to get the care you need. Many women don't have that second option, as traveling can be quite expensive. Let's take a look at one of the states that has the strictest laws of banning abortion, being Texas. A 2024 NBC article by Erica Edwards and others called A Dramatic Rise in Pregnant Women Dying in Texas After Abortion Ban describes the situation that pregnant women in Texas are facing. It breaks down not only how much the death toll has risen, being 56%, but also breaks down into ethnic categories to show the differences in death between ethnicities. For example, Black women are dealing with double the death rates that white women are, with other ethnicities also being much higher. These laws are not only killing babies and mothers, but they are also keeping couples from having children. They fear that if something were to go wrong, they would not be able to have access to the health care they need. A 2022 Cap 20 article written by Lauren Hoffman and others called State Abortion Bans Will Harm Women and Families' Economic Security Across the U.S. talks about these families and the consequences they face due to the ban. Many of these states have some of the worst economic health outcomes for women. And as a side note, many of these states have the lowest rankings for education. For example, women are looking at the possibility of not having paid medical leave. Many states do not legally require coverage of contraceptives, and the poverty rates of women and children in these states are much higher than the national average. Let's talk about these contraceptives. A 2024 NBC article by Elise Barraquette titled States with Abortion Bans Saw Birth Control Prescriptions Fall Post-Dobbs talks about the growing situation of contraceptives falling due to the consequences of the ban. Since many clinics in banned states closed, so did women's access to birth control. This is because those were the very same clinics that dispensed the needed medication. States with the most restrictive bans saw a 56% decrease in prescriptions being filled. This means that more women will get pregnant and will lead to the previous issues discussed in the speech. Let's talk some more about those issues and the rates of death these bans cause. A 2022 Cap 20 article written by Elisa Spitzer and others, also called Abortion Bans Will Result in More Women Dying, talks about how these bans will result in more deaths. Just as it had in the past, when abortions were criminalized, it doesn't stop people from getting them. In desperation, people can take actions that put their lives at risk, such as attempting to perform their own abortion. As these bans tighten their grip, women are left with fewer choices to get care. With the removal of health care comes desperation. Women could attempt unsafe abortion. This is exceedingly dangerous as it could result in death, permanent damage, and awful trauma. A 2009, but updated to our modern year, from the National Library of Medicine called Unsafe Abortion Unnecessary Maternal Mortality by Lisa B. Haddad shows us more about unsafe abortions, breaking down how many women have them and the dangers of them. It is estimated that 68,000 women die annually due to these attempts, making it one of the leading causes of mortality. Of the women who do survive this process, about 5 million suffer long-term effects. Abortion-related deaths lead to around 220,000 children being motherless. It is so ironic that the people who call themselves pro-life are the cause of so much death. To conclude this speech, I want you to know something, the person who I'm trying to convince. It's okay to have your beliefs. Everything that you believe, that's fine. That's what this country was built upon, people having the privilege of being able to think. What it isn't okay to do is force your beliefs on other people. That is exactly what this ban has done, and it has killed many because of it. I would urge you to educate yourself, to read these articles that I've mentioned and many more. There are dozens, thousands of them. Read about the people who are dying, who are being forced to birth corpses and soon to be dead babies. Read about how these bans affect families, individual people, and the extremes that women have to take in order to escape such discrimination. The lives of many depend on you.